Welcome to 5 Ways to Better Secure Your Financial Future. This is CJ Ortiz of cjortiz.com and metalmotivation.com. 5 ways to better secure your financial future. I don't know where you are in life financially or in terms of your career, but if you're like me, you're always concerned about better securing your financial future. Now, I think we all know we're not living in the same kind of world that our parents or grandparents lived in. Some people say we're in better times. Some people say we're in worse times. It's difficult to say. A lot of us are really ignorant about economics, ignorant about finances, the way money works. We hear terms like, debt reduction and inflation and this economic crisis, recession or depression. Well, which is it? Which is going to affect us? Because you may be just working at a job and economic times change and nothing much changes for you. But no matter where you are in life, you should be concerned about securing your financial future. And I'll tell you why. The reason is because the basis from which our economy works is based upon our monetary system. What do I mean by a monetary system? Well, it's your money supply. It's your means of spending. How does a society spend money? Now, we tend to think about how the government spends money, but what about how you spend money? What is money, to say the least? Well, let's look at it this way. Inflation is a word that you'll often hear. What is inflation? Inflation is not necessarily the rise in prices. That's the end result of inflation. That's how you know there's inflation. But what is inflation? Inflation is an increase in the supply of money and credit in our economic system. You probably have gotten in the mail, these credit card applications where they're guaranteeing you're going to have a $5,000 spending limit. But you may not have much credit to begin with. How do they know who you are? Why are they offering you this credit card? Why is there such easy access to money, easy access to credit? Well, this is what we refer to as inflation. Now, in one way, that's a good thing in the sense that the more common person who doesn't have a lot of finances, doesn't have a lot of money, wasn't born rich or whatever, you and I, people like that, are able to invest. We're able to spend money. We're able to get the things that we want or the things that we need. We're able to do better for ourselves and our family. That's because of the easy access to money and the ability to spend. However, the downside is inflation. The downside is the more we're able to inject into our money system, this ability to spend, the cheaper is the value of the money that we're spending. The end result there is, yes, rise in prices, but eventually you wonder, will this run out? Can you get to the place like they did in Weimar Germany, in the early 20th century where people were bringing, wheelbarrows full stacked with cash just to buy loaves of bread? That stacks of cash had lost all of their value because of hyperinflation. So inflation is not simply the rise in prices, it's the increase of the money supply, whether it be by debt, easy access to credit, or just having more paper money in the system. The opposite of the kind of money system we live in now is what you would call hard money. In other words, things like precious metals, commodities, land. These are substantial, real, tangible forms of income and ownership that paper money doesn't really represent. So the government, by means of the Federal Reserve, is printing a lot of paper money. The problem with that, again, is that it cheapens the value of the money that's being given access to a given society. So debt-based credit spending, more money injected into the system, this is what creates inflation. Well, you're not going to change it anytime soon. There's a lot of movements around right now about, inflation and, end the Federal Reserve and audit the Federal Reserve. I support all of those types of things. But here's the reality. It's probably not going to change anytime soon. So what about your life? What can you do now to better secure your financial future? You might be dependent upon a pension. You might be looking at, Social Security or whatever, but you already know that those things can go away. Those things can be hurt like they were during the recession. So many people lost their retirement, lost their savings, lost their investments, lost their pensions, right? Because of what happened in the economic crisis. So what can you and I do to better secure our financial future and not be dependent so much immediately upon the money supply? Well, there are things you can do, and I want to discuss those 5 ways to better secure your financial future. These are things that I do myself. These are basic approaches that I take. My goal is to increase your personal value in the marketplace, increase your ability to earn, and better secure your financial future. Now, the first and number one way to do that is reducing your debt. You have got to reduce your personal debts. Now, debt-based spending is there's a good and a bad side to that. Again, the ability to borrow money in order to start a business, the ability to borrow money in order to go to college, all of these things, so long as you're paying those debts back, those debts can be a good thing. But when we live our lives from, maxing out one credit card to another, that kind of debt-based spending is going to kill you. So the most important thing that you can do initially in terms of securing your financial future is to reduce your debts. Here's the reason. Because at the start of any given year, if you have a $100 bill and you put that $100 bill in your wallet on January 1st of 2016, by the time you get to the end of the year, December of 31st, and let's say you never spent that $100 bill, guess what? That $100 bill is worth less by the end of the year than it was at the start of the year. That's the nature of inflation, the reducing of the value of the money supply. So what if you put that $100 in the bank where it can gain interest? That's a better thing to do. But again, you have the same problem. The rate of inflation is higher than the rate of interest that your bank is going to give you on your money. So the problem is still by the end of the year, that $100 in the bank has not outpaced the rate of inflation. So what do you do in this situation? Am I saying don't save money? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if you have debts, credit card debts, car debts, you know what I mean? All of these personal lending that you've gotten yourself entwined with, you've got to get yourself free from those chains and fetters because those are killing you. Take that money that maybe you would have put in the bank and initially use that money to reduce your debts. The immediate result of less debt is the fact that you're earning more money without earning more money. Because so long as you're not having to spend as much on paying off your debts, that's more money that you get to keep. So the first thing you want to do, reduce your debts. Reducing debt is not all that difficult. Let's say you have, 5 or 6 different debt-based things that you need to get paid off. A car loan, a house loan, credit card debt, whatever. Take your lowest debt. Whatever the lowest debt is, the lowest payment that you pay, let's say it's a Best Buy credit card and you've got $800 on that and you've been paying, $30 a month on that. Pay off that card first. Take that $30 you were spending a month, and once that debt is paid off, don't keep that $30. Apply that $30 towards the next level of credit debt that you need to get rid of. Let's say you're paying $50 then towards a Visa card. Well, now you add that $30 from your Best Buy to the $50 from the Visa card, and now you're paying $80 a month towards Visa. Then once Visa is paid off, take that $80 and apply it towards your car note of $350. Now you're paying $430 monthly. You see what I'm saying? So what happens is your debt is reduced very quickly. So again, take the money that you have. Instead of just investing it, instead of putting it in the bank, take that money, use it to reduce your debts. You want to clear the slate. You want to clear yourself to maximize the income that you have already, and then use that towards the next things we're going to talk about in the following episodes about how you can secure your financial future. This is not going to be rocket science. It doesn't require a bunch of math. It doesn't require you know a bunch about economics. These are going to be simple things that you can do to better preserve your financial security and future. Because like I said, we are living in those uncertain times, and we want to give ourselves as much certainty as we possibly can. So tune in for these next 4 episodes. It's going to be killer. Hope you can dig that. This is CJ, the Metal Motivator. And remember, in whatever you do, don't suck. Metal up.